Welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be reading another Japanese folktale. There is a special thing today. Mary is wearing overalls that I crocheted a while ago. So today's folktale is omusubi coloring in Japanese, and the English title is The Rolling Rice Ball. So I drew another picture for the story. So let's get started. The Rolling Rice Ball. Part 1. A rice ball rolls into the forest. Long ago, in a quiet village surrounded by green mountains, there lived an old man and an old woman. They were poor, but they lived peacefully. Their small house stood near the edge of the forest. In the morning, they could hear birds singing in the trees. In the evening, they could hear the gentle sound of the wind moving through the leaves. The old man worked hard every day. He cut grass, he gathered firewood, he worked in the fields whenever he could. The old woman stayed at home and took care of the house. She cooked simple meals and repaired old clothes when they became worn. Although they did not have much money, they were thankful for what they had. One bright morning, the old woman woke up early. The sky was still pale blue, and a soft mist covered the fields. She carefully prepared lunch for her husband. She made a few rice balls. The rice was warm and soft. She wrapped them neatly in a cloth. When the old man was ready to leave, she handed him the bundle. "Please be careful today," she said. The old man smiled. "Thank you, I will." He placed the lunch inside his bag and started walking towards the hills. The path was quiet. Tiny flowers grew beside the road. Butterflies floated through the air. The old man enjoyed the peaceful morning. After some time, he reached a grassy hill near the forest. Looks like a good place to work," he said. He began cutting grass with his sickle. The sun slowly climbed higher into the sky. The old man worked steadily. Sweat formed on his forehead, but he continued. By noon, he felt hungry. "I think it is time for lunch," he said. He sat beneath a large tree. The shade felt cool and pleasant. The old man opened the cloth and looked at the rice balls. They look delicious," he said. Just as he reached for one, it slipped from his fingers. "Oh!" The rice ball rolled away. It bounced across the grass. The old man quickly stood up. Wait, wait. But the rice ball kept rolling. It rolled toward the forest. The old man chased after it. The rice ball rolled faster and faster. Then suddenly it disappeared. The old man stopped. Where did it go? He looked around carefully. Then he noticed a small hole in the ground beneath some bushes. The hole was dark and deep. The rice ball had fallen inside. Oh dear, said the old man. He crouched down and peered into the hole. He could not see the rice ball. The hole seemed to go very far underground. As he listened quietly, he heard something unexpected. Tiny voices, soft little voices. They seemed to be singing. The old man blinked. Am I imagining things? He ran closer. The voices became clear. Rice ball, rolling down. Round and white and soft and round. Thank you, tasty treat. Such a lovely thing to eat. The old man opened his eyes wide. Someone is singing down there. He listened again. The cheerful voices continued. The song echoed softly from deep underground. The old man became curious, very curious. He carefully picked up another rice ball. He said, I wonder what will happen. He gently dropped the rice ball into the hole. The rice ball rolled down. A moment later, the voices became excited. Another one. Then they began singing again. Rice ball, rolling down. Round and white and soft and round. Thank you, tasty treat. Such a lovely thing to eat. The old man could not help smiling. The voices sounded so happy. He dropped another rice ball, and then another. Each time the cheerful voices celebrated. The old man laughed softly. This is strange, but it is rather fun. Soon all the rice balls were gone. The old man sat beside the hole and listened. The voices talked happily among themselves. Then suddenly everything became quiet, very quiet. The forest breeze gently moved the leaves above him. The old man waited. A few moments later, a small voice called out, Excuse me, kind sir. The old man nearly jumped. The voice came from the hall. Who is there? He asked. We are mice, replied the voice. Mice? Yes, forest mice. The old man stared at the hole in surprise. He had never spoken with mice before. Another voice spoke. Thank you very much for the rice balls. A third voice added, They were delicious. Many tiny voices agreed. Very delicious. The old man smiled. I am glad you enjoy them. The mice seemed excited. They whispered among themselves. The old man could hear faint squeaking sounds. Finally, one mouse spoke again. You are a kind man. Oh, I don't know about that, said the old man. You shared your lunch with us. Well, it made you happy. The mice cheered. The old man laughed. The whole situation felt like a dream. Then the first mouse said, We would like to thank you properly. Thank me? Yes. The old man leaned closer. How? The mice whispered again. Then they answered, Please come back tomorrow. Tomorrow? Yes. We have prepared something special. The old man scratched his head. Something special? What could mice possibly prepare? Still, his curiosity grew. Very well, he said. I will come tomorrow. The mice cheered loudly. Wonderful. We will be waiting. The old man stood up. The sun was beginning to move towards the west. It was time to go home. As he walked back through the forest, he kept thinking about the strange voices. Talking mice, singing mice, mice who wanted to thank him. The whole thing seemed impossible. When he arrived home, the old woman greeted him. Welcome back. Thank you. She noticed his thoughtful expression. Is something wrong? The old man sat down. No, actually, something very strange happened today. The old woman listened carefully. The old man told her everything. He told her about the rolling rice ball, the deep hole, the singing voices, the mice, the invitation. The old woman listened with wide eyes. When he finished, she was silent for a moment. Then she smiled. That is certainly unusual. Do you think I imagined it? The old woman shook her head. No, you don't? No. The old woman laughed softly. The world is full of mysterious things. The old man nodded. I suppose that is true. That evening, they ate dinner together. Outside, the stars slowly appeared in the dark sky. The old man kept wondering what would happen tomorrow. Would the mice really be there? Would they really thank him? And what kind of surprise could possibly he be waiting beneath that mysterious hole? As the moon rose above the mountains, the old man climbed into bed. Soon he fell asleep, and all night long he dreamed of singing mice deep beneath the earth. Part 2. The mice beneath the earth. The next morning, the old man woke up earlier than usual. The sky was still soft and grey. A few birds were beginning to sing outside the window. For a moment, he wondered if the events of yesterday had only been a dream. But then he remembered the rolling rice ball, the singing voices, the invitation from the mice. He sat up slowly. "No," he said quietly. "It really happened." The old woman was already awake. She smiled when she saw him. "You are thinking about the mice again, aren't you?" The old man laughed. "Is it that obvious?" "A little." She prepared breakfast while the morning sun slowly brightened the room. They ate together. Then the old woman wrapped a new fresh rice ball in a cloth. "Take this with you," she said. The old man looked surprised. "More rice balls?" She nodded. If the mice liked them yesterday, they might enjoy them again. The old man smiled warmly. "Thank you." Soon he started walking towards the forest. The morning air felt cool and fresh. Drops of dew sparkled on the grass. The mountains stood quietly beneath the blue sky. Everything seemed peaceful. Yet the old man's heart was full of excitement. He had never looked forward to meeting mice before. After some time, he reached the hill. The large tree stood exactly where it had been yesterday, and beneath the bushes was the small dark hole. The old man carefully approached. For a moment, everything was silent. Then he called out, "Hello." Nothing happened. The old man waited. Then suddenly, a tiny voice shouted from below, "He is here." Another voice cried out, "The kind old man is here." Immediately, dozens of little voices filled the air. He came back. He really came back. The old man laughed. "I promise I would." The mice seemed delighted. One voice called up from the darkness, "Please wait a moment." The old man sat beside the hole. A few minutes later, he heard a strange sound. It sounded like many tiny feet running. Then something appeared, a rope. It surely rose from the darkness. The old man stared. The rope was woven from grasses and vines. Although it looked small, it seemed surprisingly strong. The mice called up, "Please climb down." The old man blinked. "Down there?" "Yes, please come visit us." The old man hesitated. He had never climbed into a mysterious hole before, especially not one filled with talking mice. Still, the mice sounded friendly, and curiosity was stronger than fear. "Very well," he said. He carefully grabbed the rope. Then he slowly began climbing down, down, and down, and down. The hole seemed much deeper than he had imagined. The sunlight above gradually became smaller. The air grew cooler. Yet somehow the The darkness never became frightening. A warm golden glow seemed to rise from below. Finally, the old man's feet touched solid ground. He looked around and gasped. Before him stretched an underground village. Tiny lanterns glowed everywhere. The walls sparkled with crystals. Little paths wound between small houses made from roots, leaves, and polished stones. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Hundreds of mice filled the village. Large mice, small mice, young mice, old mice. All of them smiled when they saw him. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming. The old man could hardly believe his eyes. This is amazing. A small grey mouse stepped forward and bowed politely. Thank you for visiting our home. The old man bowed as well. Thank you for inviting me. The mice gathered around him. They seemed excited but respectful. Many of them carried tiny flowers. Others carried colorful leaves. Some carried shining stones. The underground village felt warm and cheerful. The grey mouse spoke again. We prepared a celebration. A celebration? Yes, for you. The old man laughed nervously. Oh my. The mice led him through the village. As they walked, he admired everything around him. Tiny streams flowed between crystal rocks. Lanterns reflected softly on the water. The air smelled sweet and fresh. It felt like stepping into a hidden world. Eventually, they reached a large open space. Many mice had gathered there. In the center stood a table. Well, it was a table for mice. To the old man, it looked quite small. Still, it was covered with wonderful food. There were nuts, seeds, berries, mushrooms, and many other things collected from the forest. The mice cheered when he arrived. The old man felt embarrassed. I don't deserve all of this. The grey mouse smiled. You shared your lunch. It was only a few rice balls. To us, it was a great kindness. The old man felt his heart grow warm. The mice then began their celebration. Some played tiny instruments made from leaves. Others sang songs. Several mice danced in circles. The old man laughed and clapped along. The music echoed gently through the underground hall. The atmosphere was joyful but peaceful. Time seemed to drift by like a quiet stream. After a while, the grey mouse approached again. We have one more gift. A gift? The mice nodded. Many of them disappeared for a moment. When they returned, they were carrying something together. A wooden box. It was not very large, but it looked heavy. The mice carefully placed it before the old man. The grey mouse bowed deeply. "Please accept this." The old man looked surprised. "I cannot. Please. It is too much." The grey mouse smiled. "You gave us happiness. We wish to return it." Slowly, the old man opened the lid. His eyes widened. Inside the box were gold coins, silver coins, beautiful jewels. The box sparkled in the lantern light. The old man stared in shock. "This is impossible." The mice laughed softly. "No, it is real." The old man could hardly speak. He and his wife had struggled for many years. Now a treasure sat before him, more wealth than he had ever imagined. Tears appeared in his eyes. "Thank you." The mice smiled warmly. "We are happy." The old man carefully closed the box. Then he looked around at the underground village, at the smiling mice, at the glowing lanterns, at the crystal walls. More than the treasure, he felt grateful for meeting them. The kindness of the mice touched his heart. As the celebration continued, everyone felt happy. But far away, above the ground, someone was watching. Near the edge of the forest lived another old man. Unlike the kind old man, this man was greedy. He always wanted more money, more food, more possessions. Nothing ever seemed enough. That afternoon, he happened to see the kind old man returning home. The old man carried the wooden box carefully. The greedy neighbor noticed it immediately. He narrowed his eyes. "What is that?" The kind old man smiled as he walked. He looked happier than usual. The greedy man became suspicious, very suspicious. That evening, he secretly watched from a distance. Eventually, he saw the kind old man show the treasure to his wife. The greedy man's mouth fell open. Gold, silver, jewels. His eyes grew wide. Where did he get all that? Jealousy filled his heart. The kind old man and his wife simply smiled and gave thanks. But the greedy neighbor could think of only one thing. "I want treasure too." That night, while the moon shone quietly over the village, the greedy old man lay awake in bed. He could not sleep. He kept imagining gold coins, shining jewels, wooden treasure box. The more he thought about them, the more he wanted them. Finally, he sat up. Tomorrow, he decided he would discover the secret, and somehow he would get even more treasure for himself. Far beneath the earth, the mice slept peacefully, but trouble was already beginning to stir. Part 3. The Greedy Old Man. The next morning, the greedy old man woke up before sunrise. The sky outside was still dark. A few stars remained in the heavens, but the greedy man was not interested in the beauty of the morning. His thoughts were filled with treasure. Gold coins, silver coins, jewels. He sat up quickly. I must that hole, he muttered. His wife looked at him sleepily. Where are you going so early? The greedy old man hesitated. Then he said, Now here, important. But his wife knew him well. She narrowed her eyes. You are planning something. The old man waved his hand. It is nothing. Still, his wife could see the excitement in his face. He decided not to argue. After eating breakfast, the greedy old man hurried out of the house. He carried several rice balls, not because he wanted to share them, not because he wished to be kind. He only wanted to treasure. As he walked towards the forest, he kept thinking about the wooden box. I wonder how much gold was inside. Perhaps there were hundreds of coins, maybe thousands. The more he imagined it, the faster he walked. Soon he reached the grassy hill. The large tree stood quietly beneath the blue sky. The hole was still there beneath the bushes. The greedy old man's eyes lit up. So this is a place. He crouched beside the hole. For a moment he heard nothing. Then he remembered what the kind old man had said. The mice liked rice ball. The greedy man pulled one from his bag. Here, he dropped into the hole. The rice ball rolled downward. A few moments later, tiny voices echoed from below. Rice ball, a rice ball. The mice began singing their cheerful song. The greedy man smiled. But it was not a warm smile. It was the smile of someone expecting a reward. Good, he whispered. Now bring me treasure. He dropped another rice ball, and another. The mice happily sang again. The greedy man waited impatiently. Finally he shouted into the hole. Well, the singing stopped. Everything became quiet. A small voice called upward. Hello. The greedy old man forced a friendly tone. Good morning. The mice whispered among themselves. The voice spoke again. You are not the kind old man. No, said the greedy man. I am his neighbor. Oh. The mice sounded disappointed. The greedy man quickly added, But I brought rice balls. Yes, said the mouse politely. Thank you. The greedy man cleared his throat. So, where is my treasure? Silence. The mice seemed confused. Treasure? Asked one. Yes, treasure. Another mouse spoke. Why would we give you treasure? The greedy man frowned. You gave treasure to the other old man. The mice became quiet. Then the grey mouse spoke. We gave him a gift because he was kind. I gave you rice balls too. The grey mouse paused. That is true. The greedy old man smiled. Then give me a treasure box. The mice whispered among themselves for a long time. Finally, the grey mouse spoke again. Please wait. The greedy man sat down beside the hole. A smile spread across his face. He imagined himself becoming rich, perhaps even richer than his neighbor. He waited and waited. Eventually, the familiar rope appeared. The mice called out, "Please come down." The greedy man's heart raced. Excellent. He quickly climbed into the hole. Down, down, down. Soon he reaches the underground village. The glowing crystals sparkled around him. The lanterns shone softly. The mice gathered nearby. But unlike before, they did not seem cheerful. They seemed cautioned. The greedy man barely noticed. His eyes searched everywhere. Where is the treasure? The mice looked at one another. The grey mouse stepped forward. He prepared a gift. The greedy man grinned. I knew it. The mice led him through the village. Eventually, they arrived at the large gathering place. In the center sat a wooden box. It looked similar to the one the kind old man had received. The greedy man's eyes grew wide. At last, the grey mouse bowed politely. This is our gift. The greedy old man hurried forward. He grabbed the box immediately. He did not thank the mice. He did not bow. He did not smile at them. He simply lifted the lid, and then something moved inside. The greedy old man froze. A snake suddenly rose from the box. Then another. Several snakes slithered out together. The greedy old man screamed. Ah! He stumbled backward. The mice scattered. The snakes slid across the ground. The greedy man dropped the box. His face turned pale. What is this? The grey mouse sighed. It is a gift that matches your heart. The greedy man stared. My heart? The grey mouse nodded sadly. The kind old man gave without expecting anything. You only wanted treasure. The greedy old man's mouth opened and closed. No words came out. The mice continued. Kindness creates kindness. Greed creates trouble. The greedy man felt embarrassed. But instead of reflecting on his actions, he became angry. This is unfair. The mice remained calm. No, it is fair. The greedy man stamped his foot. I deserve treasure. The mice shook their head. No one deserves treasure simply because they want it. The underground village became silent. For the first time, the greedy old man noticed how peaceful everything around him was. The glowing crystals, the gentle lantern light, the quiet streams, the mice living together happily. None of them seemed interested in gold. None of them seemed concerned about becoming rich. The greedy man suddenly felt very small. The grey mouse spoke softly. The other old man was already rich. The greedy man blinked. What? He was rich in kindness. The words hung in the air. The greedy old man lowered his eyes. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Finally he sighed, a long, tired sigh. Perhaps, for the first time in many years, he realized something. His desire for treasure had made him miserable, even before he arrived. Even before he opened the box, while his neighbor enjoyed simple things, he spent his days waiting, wanting more. The greedy man sat quietly. The mice watched him. Eventually he bowed his head. I understand. The grey mouse smiled gently. Do you? The old man nodded. I think so. The mice seemed pleased. The grey mouse stepped forward. Then perhaps this visit was not wasted. The greedy man laughed weakly. No, it was not. The snakes had already disappeared. The underground village became peaceful once again. The mice escorted the old man back to the rope. Before he left, the grey mouse spoke one last time. Treasure is not always gold. The greedy man nodded. I will remember. Then he climbed back towards the surface. When he finally emerged into the sunlight, the afternoon sky was bright and clear. A gentle breeze moved through the grass. For a long time he simply stood there, listening. The wind, the birds, the rustling leaves. Things he normally ignored. They suddenly felt precious. As he slowly walked home, he thought about the kind old man. Perhaps kindness really was a kind of treasure. Perhaps gratitude was too. And perhaps happiness could not be found inside a wooden box. It might already exist on ordinary days, in simple meals, in warm conversations, in peaceful evenings. The greedy old man walked more slowly than usual. And for the first time in many years, he felt a little lighter. Part 4. The Treasure of a Peaceful Heart. The days passed quietly after that. Summer slowly spread across the mountains. The trees became deep green. Wild flowers bloomed beside the path. village remained peaceful just as it always had been. The kind old man and his wife continued their simple life. Each morning they woke with the rising sun. Each evening they watched the sky change from gold to purple. Although they now possessed the treasure given by the mice, very little changed. The old man still worked in the fields. The old woman still prepared meals and cared for their home. Neither of them wished to live differently. The treasure helped them worry less. It helped them repair their house. It helped them buy warm blankets for winter. It helped them share food with neighbors who were struggling. But they never became proud. They never forgot where the treasure had come from. And they never forgot the kindness of the mice. Sometimes, while eating dinner together, they would remember that strange day. The rolling rice bowl, the singing voices, the hidden village beneath the earth. The old woman would smile. I still find it hard to believe. The old man would laugh softly. So do I. Then they would sit quietly and listen to the evening insects singing outside. Those moments became some of their favorite memories. Meanwhile, the greedy old man was changing, not all at once, not overnight, but little by little. At first, he felt embarrassed whenever he remembered the snakes. His face would become red. He would groan and cover his eyes. What a fool I was! His wife noticed the change. One morning she asked, "Why have you become so quiet lately?" The old man thought for a moment. Then he smiled awkwardly. "I have been thinking." His wife laughed. "That sounds dangerous." The old man laughed too. Perhaps for the first time in many years, he laughed at himself. He told her everything. The hole, the mice, the treasure, the snakes, the lesson he had learned. His wife listened carefully. When he finished, she nodded. "I have been telling you that for years." The old man blinked. "You have? Of course." She smiled warmly. "You simply did not want to hear it." The old man scratched his head. "I suppose that is true." After that day, he tried to become a better person. Whenever he harvested vegetables, he shared some with neighbors. When someone needed help repairing a fence, he offered assistance. When children greeted him, he smiled instead of grumbling. People noticed. Slowly, the villagers began saying, "He seems different these days." And they were right. The change was small, but it was real. As the seasons passed, the story of the rolling rice bowl spread through the village. Children especially loved it. They gathered around their grandparents and listened with shining eyes. "Did the rice bowl really roll into the hole?" Did the mice really sing? Were there really crystals underground? The old people would smile. Some believed every word. Others thought it might simply be a wonderful story. But everyone agreed on one thing. The lesson was important. Many years later, children still sang the mice's song while playing. Sometimes, on warm afternoons, their voices drifted through the village. Rice ball rolling down, round and white and soft and round. Thank you, tasty treat. Such a lovely thing to eat. The old man would hear the song and smile. The memory never faded. One autumn afternoon, he decided to visit the hill again. The air felt cool. Golden leaves drifted from the trees. The forest glowed with soft colors. The old man walked slowly along the familiar path. When he reached the large tree, he stopped. The hole was still there, hidden beneath the bushes. Quiet, peaceful, exactly as before. The old man sat beside it. For a while, he simply listened. The wind rustled through the branches. A bird called somewhere in the distance. The earth smelled fresh and clean. Finally, he spoke softly. Thank you. The word disappeared into the quiet forest. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, very faintly, he thought he heard something. A tiny voice, almost too soft to hear. Thank you too. The old man smiled. Perhaps it was real. Perhaps it was only the wind. Either way, his heart felt warm. He remained there until the sun began sinking behind the mountains. Golden light filled the forest. Everything seemed calm. Everything seemed gentle. As he walked home, he realized something important. The greatest treasure had never been the gold. It had never been the jewels. It had never been the wooden box. The real treasure was the kindness shared between living things. A few rice balls had become friendship. Friendship had become gratitude. And gratitude had become happiness. The treasure could never be lost. The treasure could never be stolen. The treasure would remain forever. When the old man returned home, the old woman was waiting. She smiled as he approached. Welcome home. The old man smiled back. I am home. Together they watched the evening sky. The mountains turned purple. The first stars appeared. A cool breeze moved through the garden. The world felt peaceful, very peaceful. And somewhere far below the earth, beneath roots and stones and sleeping flowers, the mice continued their quiet lives. Perhaps they still sang their cheerful song. Perhaps they still remembered the kind old man who had shared his lunch long ago. And perhaps whenever a rice ball rolled across the ground, they listened carefully and smiled. The night grew deeper. The stars shone softly overhead. The village became quiet. One by one, the lights in the houses disappeared. The old man and the old woman went to bed. They closed their eyes. Their hearts were calm. Their hearts were grateful. And as the moon rose gently above the mountains, the story of the rolling rice ball drifted into the peaceful night. A story of kindness, a story of gratitude, a story reminding everyone that even the smallest gift can create great happiness. And so the tale of the rolling rice ball came to a gentle end. So the story is finished. So thank you for watching.